right, so we have our animations set up, but they're not connected to anything. What we want to do is we want to make it so when we start moving, we trigger the animator to transition from idle to run. To do that, I'm going to select idle, right click, make transition from idle to run. And now I have an arrow connecting to the line. I'm going to select that line. And I'm going to go ahead and set the conditions. So I'm going to hit the plus button. And it says a parameter does not exist in controller. Well, I'm going to go ahead and on the left, I should see layers and parameters. I'll select parameters. Plus button. Bool. I'm going to set this to is running. Please pay attention to the capital R there. This is going to be important later. We have to make sure that this is actually spelled right because we're going to use this in our script. And we need to make sure we have it correct with proper capitalization. Now in my conditions with that line selected, I can switch to is running. Well, if is running is true, we transition from idle to run. Great. But now how do we actually set that? Well, I'm going to go into my script. And I need to make a reference to my animator. So I'll do private animator, then animator with lowercase. So I want to be able to modify that animator. Well, I can't do get component because the animator is actually not on the place where the animator is. So the player controller object has the script, but the sprite child object has the animator. So I can't actually connect it through a get component like this. Well, I can, but it's just more complicated. So we'll skip that for now. Instead, what I'll do is inside of update, I'll say, well, if horizontal move is not equal to 0, so if our player is holding down a move button, so if its horizontal movement is not 0, then I'm going to set the animator dot set bool, capital S, capital B, then parentheses, semicolon at the end. Now set bool wants two things. It wants a name for the boolean that you want to modify, and then the value. Well, that's where this comes into play. This is running parameter. That's what I'm going to put here in quotation marks. So I'll do is running. Then after the quotation marks, I'm going to set to true. So if there is movement from the player, set the is running value to true. Save that and go back to Unity. And if I select my player character, I should have a component there, but I don't because I made a mistake. This animator should not be private, it should be public. Well, in this instance, it's public. We actually probably set something else later, but for now, that's fine. So the animator is set to public. So now if I compile, my player controller has a new parameter asking for animator. So I'll drag sprite into there. I can click it wanted me to click the little arrow there. You can just drag that in there. So now the animator is connected to the script. So let's press play and see what happens. Well, I'm hitting an arrow or hitting one of the movement buttons, and now the character is running. When I stop, it's still running. That's not right. Let's see what's actually happening here. I'm going to drag my animator window out and over to the right and dock it here on the right side so we can see it as it's running. Press play. And I can see, all right, well, this blue line that's playing under idle. This is the idle animation. That's what's playing. If I move my character, it transitioned to run. and now it's staying there. I need it to go back to idle. The reason I went back to idle is because I clicked away. It would keep running forever. I need to actually make it go back to idle. Easy enough. With your animator open, and I'm just going to shrink that window. You can just go to the different tab. I want to set run. I've got idle to run. I want to go from run to idle. So right click, make transition, run to idle. Select that arrow that's going from run to idle. Conditions is running false. So now if I press play, well, the animation still goes because I forgot to write this part of the script to make it not do that. So inside of update under if, I'll do else. So if I'm not moving, then I want animator.setBool. I'm going to copy and paste to be equal to false. So if I'm not moving, then I want is running to be false. Now if I press play, and it works. So I now go back to idle, but there's a weird lag. So I can't go right from idle to run right away, which is a little weird. Reality, it should be instant. So let's make some changes. So with the line connecting idle to run selected, I'm going to hit this box where it says has exit time, turn that off. And I'm going to drag these bars all the way over to the right. So it looks like that. We want it to go from idle straight into run. Then from run to idle, same thing. Deselect has exit time, then drag these bars back. Though I actually wanted to go from run to idle, so I want a little bit of transition there. You can feel free to turn it all the way off though. All right, let's press play and see what happens. So now as soon as I hit a button to move, my character starts running. And when I let go, it stops. That's because of this animator state machine. So what we have done with each one of these boxes is saying this is a state that the animation should exist in. It should exist in idle until something changes, until a parameter changes. And then we should exist in this state. So while I'm standing still, I'm in the idle state. But when I start running, I'm now in the run state. When I stop, I go back to the idle. Now that concept of a state machine is a fairly advanced concept, but it's really, really, really useful when programming. And really, really useful when working with games specifically, because almost everything is going to eventually exist in the form of a state, as in the state the character is in. The character is in the attack state, or is in the invincible state with power up, or the game itself is in the menu state, or gameplay state, or game over state. We'll use things like this, the concept of this, except with just C# code, a lot when working with more advanced levels of games.